Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. So we have Hollywood, the land of make-believe, where all of your dreams come true. No, they don't. It's the land of the lost, where deception and fakeness abound. A place whose time is now over, I believe. The spell is broken. So what they do now is, I think they're going to try and get as much mileage out of these old has-beens as much as they can for their agendas. But it's interesting, when I see some of the most pro-jib-jab social media profiles, the ones with the face masks on in their profile picture, the ones that will jump on any bandwagon in order to virtue signal, the ones that, the ones where the programming has worked the best. A lot of the times when you scroll down their page and look at what they post, you find, especially if they are men and from the USA, they will have an unhealthy obsession with Marvel movies, superheroes, the latest Disney Plus series or Star Wars or something along those lines. It's as if they can't differentiate from the fake world, the illusory world, and the real world, or what is true. Hence why so much of the propaganda probably seems to work so well on them, and they're swept up by whatever the mainstream media are telling them. For example, they would probably be saying now how they would open their doors to their own home to refugees, that type of thing. And they would put the rainbow flag over their profile picture. These are the ones who have been spellbound, shall we say. But can they be snapped out of it? That is the question. I don't know. So ultimately what I'm trying to say, there is a blending of mainstream news and fantasy entertainment that occupies a lot of these people's lives. Here we see today the actor Sean Penn. He has turned up on CNN News and elsewhere. He's got a new film out, and so he's plugging it. But the main gist of these interviews is that he only wants jabbed up people to go and see the film.
But I do always feel at this point in time that I have to say that I'd ask that as much as I want people all to go to the theater, I really only want people who are vaccinated and safe to themselves and each other to go. And it will stream, but most of the people who aren't vaccinated probably aren't interested in my movies anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then he turned up also on CNN, mainstream news channel.
So for Gaslit, the production, you made a lot of headlines because, and help me understand this, I guess some folks needed to be vaccinated, but not the entire production. And you said what? Explain that to us.
So they have what's called Zone 1. And Zone 1 is anybody that works close to actors. So actors are protected. But if a stagehand is working alongside a stagehand who is not protected, then they can get sick. I didn't want to feel complicit in something that was just taking care of one group and not the other. And I do believe that everyone should get vaccinated. I believe it should be mandatory, like turning your headlights on in a car at night. But obviously that's not going to happen tomorrow, and yet at least it can happen in some areas. And a lot of businesses are starting to take the lead on that. So I'll go back to Gaslit. I'll go back when I can be assured that 100% of the crew has gotten vaccinated.
So here we have a man who, by the way, was once arrested for attempted murder. He and his personal assistant dangled a photographer over a 9th floor balcony, and he got away with it. And other stuff, but who cares? Basically, this is a man now who is 61 years old, who has spent his entire life playing pretend, pretending to be other people, impersonating people, going to dress up, going to wardrobe and putting on outfits and going out and pretending in front of cameras. All his money has come from that. When most of us, right, are children, we run around the house pretending to be a superhero or a fairy princess or whatever. This guy has done this throughout his life and been paid for it. And here he is on a news channel as if whatever he says should be listened to, as if he should be respected for pretending to be someone else all his life. It's all an illusion. You see, you have your Hollywood creating illusions from the dream factory, and then you have one of them that appears now on the news to tell people that the jabs should be mandatory. This is a pampered, spoilt, selfish man-child who has never grown up. Compare this to someone who creates real things for a living, like a carpenter, or fixes stuff and helps people out, like a plumber, or actually does something for society, like collecting dustbins, rubbish bins. This guy just plays pretend, and he gets paid ridiculous amounts of money for it. And yet here he is, showcased on a news channel, a mainstream news channel for the public to listen to. And they expect people to respect him for this. And he's rolled out to influence people. The only people who are going to be influenced are the spellbound, as they have given away their ability for critical thinking. Their minds are now controlled. Hopefully, they can snap themselves out of it. You see, we've got two worlds that exist simultaneously. It's been that way for a long time. But to me, this now feels like the finale. We have come to a defining moment, and now it's clear, it's transparent to those who can see. We have, on one side, we've got the fake, illusory world, okay? And on the other side, the world of reality and the truth. How do we know what is true? Well, look at the censorship. Look at the deplatforming of professional people with qualifications. These people in the hundreds being cancelled for expressing their views, being shut down. Views that go against the narrative, the media agenda. Their freedom of speech removed. No debate allowed. And why? Because those that lie, when faced with the truth, would be found out if they were allowed to speak. If they were allowed to have an open debate, that's why they are shut down. Liars always end up having to lie over and over again in order to hide the original lie. It's like a snowball of lies going downhill. It's out of control. It only gets bigger and bigger as it goes downhill, and it becomes more noticeable, and it picks up speed before it crashes at the bottom of the hill and breaks into pieces. And here we see a person who plays pretend for a living, given a platform on a mainstream news channel talking about mandating this, mandating that, whilst experts all over the world are being censored, are being shut down, and are not allowed to speak. An actor being rolled out in an information war which is controlled by the dream factory. We must not lose sight of the truth. It is all important at this time. This is why I always talk about your gut instinct, not allowing yourself to be fooled, observing and analysing, but never consuming. Don't let these things wind you up. Not giving in to peer pressure and standing up for yourself, even if you're the only one in the room with that opinion. It's clear the road of life has now divided. To me, there's only one real choice. And there is only one path you should take, because all you're left with at the end of it all is, have you been true to yourself? Did you do the right thing? Did you stand up for what is right? Were you brave enough to speak out? It may seem that the majority are spellbound, but what is true will win hands down in any battle in the long run. As truth draws strength from itself and not from the number of votes in its favour. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the fake stream media.